of the Paradise Club. He found Lou-Anne waiting exactly where he had left her, her hands clasped nervously together. As Gomer approached, a brilliant, beautiful smile spread across his face, lighting up the entire room. He took Lou-Anne's gentle hands, his own. "But I will tell you one thing," Gomer declared softly, ensuring only she could hear the promise in his heart. "Lou-Anne is my girl, and we are about to make the decision of a lifetime." Lou-Anne's eyes filled with joyful tears. She squeezed his hands back tightly. "Oh, Gomer! Oh, my gosh!" Gomer whispered back, his heart finally whole again. "Lou-Anne." The neon lights of the Golden Dragon Chinese restaurant cast a warm, crimson glow through the large plate-glass windows, spilling out onto the quiet evening streets. Inside, the air was rich with the comforting, savory aromas of soy sauce, toasted sesame, and perfectly fried meats. It was a cozy establishment, the kind of place where the red leather booths squeaked comfortably when you slid into them, and the paper lanterns swayed gently whenever the front door opened. Private First Class Gomer-Pyle, a proud member of the United States Marine Corps, sat across from the loveliest girl he had ever laid eyes on, Miss Lou-Anne Poovey. Gomer looked completely at ease in his dress uniform, though his heart was doing a nervous, fluttery tap dance against his ribs, just as it always did when he spent time with Lou-Anne. Her sweet smile and gentle southern drawl made him feel like he was right back home. They had just finished a rather spectacular meal, and the table between them was an absolute landscape of empty porcelain platters and tiny teacups. "How about it, Lou-Anne?" Gomer asked, his voice filled with genuine enthusiasm as he gestured toward the last remaining dish on the table. "There is still some more egg foo young." Lou-Anne delicately patted her lips with a crisp white napkin and offered a soft, musical laugh. "Oh, my goodness, no, Gomer," she said, her eyes sparkling beneath the dim restaurant lights. "I am absolutely full. I just love Chinese cooking. That and Southern cooking, of course." Gomer nodded enthusiastically, a wide, earnest smile spreading across his face. "I sure would hate to have to decide between mugu gai pan and fried chicken. That would be a mighty tough choice for a man to make." He reached across the table and picked up a small, crisp fortune cookie that the waiter had left on a delicate saucer. He handed it to Lou-Anne with a flourish. "Here, let us see what the fortune cookies have to say. I hope it is something good." Lou-Anne cracked the thin, golden pastry in half. A tiny slip of white paper fluttered down onto the tablecloth. She picked it up, her eyes scanning the small blue text. A faint blush crept up her cheeks, and she let out another soft laugh. "Oh, it is just silly." "What does it say?" Gomer leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "Well, it is just silly, Gomer," she repeated, trying to wave it away with a graceful flick of her wrist. "It is just plain old silly." "Well, sometimes they are not so silly," Gomer reasoned, his brow furrowing slightly in deep thought. "Sometimes it is purely amazing how close they come to your actual life. It is like they know exactly what you're going through. Let me see it." Lou-Anne hesitated for a brief second before sliding the tiny piece of paper across the table. Gomer picked it up and read it aloud, his voice steady and sincere. "You and your loved one are about to make the decision of a lifetime." He looked up at Lou-Anne, blinking slowly. "Isn't that silly?" Lou-Anne asked, though there was a hopeful, questioning note in her voice. She was looking at him expectantly, waiting for him to seize a moment, to say something romantic, to tell her that maybe the little slip of paper was right. Gomer, however, possessed a heart so pure and a sense of honor so strict that he often missed the subtle nuances of romance. He scratched the side of his jaw, his expression turning serious. "Well, I guess this one is kind of silly." Lou-Anne's smile faltered slightly. "What?" "I mean," Gomer continued, completely unaware of the shift in her mood, "we both decided that we would make that decision after I got out of the Marine Corps. That is the reason it is kind of silly. We already made an agreement." Lou-Anne sighed softly, resting her chin on her hand. "Well, do you not think it is just as silly not to talk about something that we are going to talk about anyhow? Gomer's eyes widened with sudden concern. He never wanted to upset Lou-Anne. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a gentle, earnest tone. Golly, Lou-Anne, you know exactly how I feel about you. You are the sweetest girl in the whole wide world. But making that kind of decision right now would mean that you would have to give up your freedom. And I just do not think that is fair. I am a Marine. I have duties and obligations to the United States government. It just would not be right to tie you down while I am figuring out my hitch. Lou-Anne straightened up, a spark of indignation flashing in her eyes. Are you saying that you want to go out and date other fellas? Well, no, Lou-Anne, Gomer stammered, entirely caught off guard. I do not want that at all. It is just that I do not think it is fair of me to ask you not to. Hey, lady ought to have her freedom. Lou-Anne stared at him for a long, quiet moment. She loved Gomer's noble heart, but his stubborn adherence to what he considered fair was deeply frustrating. I see, she said quietly. Hoping to lighten the mood, Gomer reached for his own fortune cookie. He cracked it open and pulled out the paper. Hey, how about if I read my fortune to you? He offered with a hopeful smile. He cleared his throat and read, A wise man keeps his ears open and his mouth shut. He looked at Lou-Anne, chuckling nervously. Now, isn't that silly? Chapter 2, An Unexpected Call. The following evening, the telephone in Lou-Anne's cozy apartment rang with a sharp, demanding trill. She set aside the fashion magazine she had been reading and picked up the receiver. Hello? Akalakaji, Akalakajo, Carolina Aggies, go, go, go. A loud, boisterous voice boomed through the earpiece. Lou-Anne blinked, pulling the phone slightly away from her ear. She instantly recognized that ridiculous collegiate cheer. Monroe, the one and only. Monroe E. Ford replied, his voice brimming with unearned confidence. Where are you? Where are you calling from? Right here in town, Monroe declared proudly. I just got in for a convention, and the very first thing I said to myself was, I had better give old Lou-Anne a call, or she just will not forgive me. Lou-Anne rolled her eyes, though she kept her tone perfectly polite. Well, that is very nice of you. There was a muffled sound on the other end, as if Monroe was covering the mouthpiece to speak to someone else. It is Monroe E. Ford, she heard him say to someone in the background. He is right here in town. Excuse me, Monroe. Lou-Anne interrupted gently. What were you saying? I said, where have you been? Monroe asked, his tone suddenly possessing a hint of accusation. I thought you always got home from work at 6 o'clock. Well, yes, I do, Lou-Anne replied calmly. But I had a date. A date? Monroe sounded taken aback, but he quickly recovered his swagger. Well, listen here, I would sure like to see you. Maybe tomorrow night? Lou-Anne hesitated. A mischievous thought suddenly entered her mind. Gomer had been so insistent about her keeping her freedom and not being tied down. Perhaps a little friendly competition would help the sweet, oblivious Marine realize exactly what he had to lose. Tomorrow night? Lou-Anne repeated softly. Well, actually, I am not quite sure. Could I telephone you back and let you know? Yes, absolutely, Monroe said eagerly. Oh, you are staying at the Millard Fillmore Hotel? She asked, grabbing a pen to jot down the information. Room 325. All right. And Monroe, thank you very much for calling me. She hung up the phone with a thoughtful expression. Just as she turned around, she saw Gomer standing in the doorway of her kitchen. He had come over to help her fix a broken cabinet hinge, and he held a screwdriver in his hand. He looked slightly bewildered. Lou-Anne, are you going to see him? Gomer asked, his voice betraying a hint of worry. Do you want me not to see him? Lou-Anne countered, turning to face him fully, challenging him to finally stake his claim. Gomer shuffled his feet, his profound sense of fairness warring with the heavy, sinking feeling in his chest. Well, I cannot stop you from seeing him if you want to. I did not say I want to see him, Lou-Anne pressed, stepping closer. I want to know whether you want me not to see him. Gomer sighed, looking down at his polished black shoes. Well, it is exactly like I said in the restaurant last night. Lou-Anne, I just do not think it is fair of me to ask you not to